In today's Pokemon Market Update video, not only are we going to be talking about some cards that are seeing some massive movement, we're also going to be talking about a booster box that just hit an insane level, a new all-time high. But first, we need to talk about a few cards that I think right now are really good pickups. They're kind of at crucial moments where they're about to see some potential big upticks in price swing. So let's just jump straight into that, and I'll kind of explain what I'm talking about. So the Mew V and the Mew VMAX from Fusion Strike are at a very interesting point right now, and there's a lot of things happening around them. And I think they're ready to see probably some pretty decent price movement. And we're going to start off with the V right here. Now, a few things to note. There's only 32 copies of this as of this recording, Saturday, August 30th in the morning. There's only 32 copies currently listed on TCG Player. Now, we have seen a decent little run up from $50 up into around $75 on this card. But just keep in mind, we have the Bubble Mew doing insane numbers. We have Fusion Strike, the set that this Mew V is in, doing insane numbers. There's a lot of hype around Mew in general right now. So I do think that we're looking at potentially one of the last chances to pick up this card and the VMAX before they see a pretty significant price increase. So I just wanted to let you guys know and be aware that is a thing. Currently, right now, we do have a few copies at 75, then it goes up to 85, and most likely we're going to see this card. I would be really surprised if this card doesn't easily surpass the $100 mark in the near future, just based on the hype and everything that's been happening. We've seen so many singles right now moving big, and they move quick. So especially once they start to get low supply on TCG Player, it's just supply and demand, and it's just they move too quick. So that's why I wanted to talk about these few cards right off the bat. Also, keep in mind, PSA 10 prices are going crazy right now. These are the last solds, over $400 for the Mew V. And keep in mind, right now, as of now, it's a $75 card, but a PSA 10 could net you well over $400. I think I bought in January of this year, I purchased this card in a 10 already, and I think it was like $220 or $200 ish in a 10. So it's already well over doubled in value. So that's kind of cool to see. But just keep in mind that we're right at the precipice of some potential movement, and we're seeing the same thing from the VMAX. Now, the VMAX is already a more expensive card, obviously double the price, almost $145 right here. But the same thing, we're seeing a low supply of 28 copies currently listed on TCG Player. And then you can see this is a little bit, people tend to like the VMAXs more. I actually like, between the arts, I like the V more than the VMAX personally, but that's just my personal take. But what you're going to see here is after a few more sales, just really a handful, it goes up into the 180s and then into the $200+ range. So that's kind of where I could easily see this surpassing the $200 range, and then I don't know where it goes from there. And like I said, and then the V surpassing the 100, and then maybe moving up additionally from there as well. So just keep in mind that these cards they're kind of set to move. It's kind of what we've seen from other sets and other singles. They're kind of primed and ready to go. So that's why I wanted to talk about this off the rip right here. The VMAXs have been selling for around 400 in a 10 as well, which is kind of wild to think that the V kind of has been equaling or potentially outpacing the VMAX when it comes to PSA 10 sales. So that's very interesting. So those are my two cards that I would say are probably good pickups right now. There's just so much craziness with the Bubble Mew, and then you throw Fusion Strike into the mix, and I think it's a win-win. So that's those cards. The Bubble Mew, like I said, we'll touch on it real quickly. We're not going to go too in-depth into it. We've talked about it a lot recently, but it's continuing to rise. I mean, look at these last solds right here. This last sold the other day, $825 on TCG Player. Before that, 6 and 700s. Currently, the lowest listed English copy right here is 705. So definitely still a $700 card. We'll see if the Bubble Mew you would expect, and at some point it's most likely going to happen. And we see this with chase cards. We've seen it happen before with other the alternate art boom that we saw before with other big run-ups. After a massive run-up like this from like 300, especially up to 700, in theory, we should see this retrace. It should set a higher low if there's a big demand for it. But at some point, we'll probably see this retrace, at least to a certain extent, because these numbers are just insane, and it doesn't seem like they're probably sustainable. So just keep that in mind. You see it every time there's a run-up, like previously right here, even a little one ran up to 300, dipped back down to 260, ran up to 400, dipped down to 300, and now we're seeing another run up. So we usually see declines after big run ups. So just keep in mind that we're probably set for this to happen for the Bubble Mew at some point. And speaking of Mew, this is a Mew heavy video. We have other Mews continuing to move. Crown Zenith, I've always said, and I believe I touched on this in multiple videos quite a while ago now, probably at this point, but that this Galarian Gallery Mew GG10 was a really underrated card. Now, most likely it's seeing most of its movement here in relation to the Bubble Mew. Crown Zenith as a set is doing really well. The sealed's doing well. People love Crown Zenith, right? But I always thought that this was like way too cheap of a card, just super adorable. And I actually prefer this card in Japanese just because for some reason I feel like I don't hate the yellow borders, but for this card I feel like the yellow border just kind of ruins it, and I think that the silver border looks much better. Anyways, we're seeing this card move up pretty big, 85% in the past 3 months. 3 months ago, this was a $16 card. Let's see how much. 64% of that growth coming in the last month alone. And if you want to see something crazy, it's up 500% in the past year. This was a $5 card a year ago. And it did have a run up earlier this year, like late January, early February, ran up to around $25. And then it cooled off. So this is that after a run up, we see it cool off, and it cooled off to a low of around 15, 16. And now we're seeing it at an all-time high currently of around $34, $35. And lowest listeds are actually higher than that. You can see they're all around $40. So it looks like the Sleeping Galarian Gallery Mew is moving up big. Up to $40 is a pretty significant run up. So this chart will look a lot better once that updates. So just keep in mind, I'll keep you guys updated on this card. We'll touch on it in a future video, I'm sure. And then PSA 10 prices are wild for me to see, because I remember this was like I want to say at one point, like a $50 to $60 PSA 10. And now we're seeing $300 sales. Last sold $299.99, $299.99 plus shipping. So $300 last solds on the Sleeping Mew. Wow. So yeah, that's just the power of what the Bubble Mew has been doing and the effect that it's been having. And then real quickly, I don't think this is like necessarily a big one that's going to have a big chance to see a lot of movement, but this is kind of an underrated Mew card from the Lost Origin Trainer Gallery. This is number TG30. This photo right here does not do it justice. This card actually looks really great in person. It really shines, it really pops. And this one has been seeing some growth. We've seen it up 21% in the past 3 months, from $10 up to around $14, $15 currently. So just a little, like this is the last Mew card we'll talk about in this video, but just kind of an underrated one as well. Probably continue to see some movement on it, just as the Bubble Mew continues to do Bubble Mew things. But a year ago, could have picked this up for around $5. So nothing too crazy. I just wanted to point this out. Maybe if you guys are newer to the hobby, haven't seen this card from Lost Origin, it sparkles really nice in person. And it is a much more affordable Mew card if you're looking to get into Mew right now, just because of the popularity of things. So yeah, maybe check that out if you want to take a look-see. Let's see what the current lowest listed is. You're right on, yeah, you're in $15 with shipping. So just a kiss above current market price there. And then the other factor of all of these cards that we need to talk about is Fusion Strike. Fusion Strike is $1,000 box. That is wild to say. Check out the last sales. Last solds on TCG Player. We're finally there. They're all, I'm gonna, for the sake of this, for numbers, even this $9.95, I'm rounding them all up. They're all $1,000, but there's right here, somebody bought two at $1,000 and then $999.99. Fusion Strike is a $1,000 booster box. I've been saying since Fusion Strike was at $500, and all of the Sword and Shield era, specifically the alternate art sets, maybe with some Battle Styles exception, although Battle Styles will probably have its moment in the limelight. But if you exclude that set and you pretty much talk about all the other ones, your Evolving Skies, your Fusion, your Lost Origin, Brilliant Stars, Silver Tempest, mainly those sets, Astral Radiance, Chilling Reign too. I have never been more bullish. I mean, we're talking about a few months ago where I was saying this. I have never been more bullish, and I still am just as bullish on Sword and Shield boxes in general. I'm still just as bullish on Fusion Strike at $1,000. I know it's expensive and I know it's crazy, but we've seen the writing on the wall. Like this isn't a shock to me. This is just an inevitability at this point. But lowest listeds are at 1,000, and let's just first funsies. It doesn't show a listed median price currently is listed around 1,200, and you go to page 2 and that's kind of what you're seeing, 1,200. And then after 1,200 it makes a big jump in listings up to around 1,500. So it'll be interesting to see how high, this will be the interesting part, how high will this box go before the end of the year, because we're almost in September and we're starting to get to the end of the year, last few months. And I, Sword and Shield era stuff from Evolving Skies down, we have the groundwork laid for us from these boxes, from what we've seen with Sun and Moon with tag team and everything. It makes sense that we're seeing this, maybe just not this quickly, like things have happened quick, right? But Evolving Skies has been leading the way. That's your tag team equivalent. And then your Fusion Strike and Lost Origin are leading up the way, the second place there. Lost Origin, not quite there yet. It's at I think it's high 7s, low 8s. So it's still lagging behind Fusion Strike a little bit. But we're going to see this box surpass $1,000. You're going to look back at a time and you're going to say, wow, Fusion Strike at 1,000 was cheap. And that's just the truth. That's the reality of where we're at with Fusion Strike. But anyways, so you got the Mews. The Mews are in this set, and you have the Bubble Mew hype. So that's why I'm saying those two Mews that I talked about at the beginning, I could see them seeing some significant legs up in price value. So that's why I wanted to touch on that, because we also, Fusion Strike at 1,000 is a big deal. So a very interesting point there. And then two, it's not just TCG player. If you just want to see, as of this morning, $1,000 booster box sold on eBay. So it is not just TCG player. We're seeing this on eBay. And also, just for a reference, Fusion Strike was released on November 12th, 2021. And if you guys weren't around at the time, or you don't remember, Fusion Strike was not regarded as the set that it is today. I just want to throw that out there. Keep in mind that sets can change. People's perspectives of these sets can change. Okay, Fusion Strike was not thought of like this. It was not thought of as the second best set from Sword and Shield era. It really wasn't. It was kind of like looked down and talked down upon. And it was cheap. It was available for a long time at cheap prices, at or below MSRP, and look at where we are now. Give it a few years. So if you're looking at any like Scarlet and Violet era sets or any other set, specifically Scarlet and Violet for now, we'll use that as an example. Give it a few years, things can change. So if you have some strong beliefs in some Scarlet and Violet sets that maybe currently aren't performing as well as you'd like them to, just keep in mind that a few years can really, really change that. So yeah, Fusion Strike. And then we got to talk about a little bit more about a Gengar. This is actually from Lost Origin, the trainer gallery. This is number TG06. This one's kind of crazy to see that it's up to this point for me, because this was a card that I was buying. I must have been well over a year ago. We'll pull up the 1 year chart, but it's up 95% in the past 3 months. It's around a $30 card. You can see there's a few listings in the 20s, just a handful, and then it's all in the $30 range, with the most recent sale being actually around $34 and $36 for this Gengar. But I picked up multiple copies of this card. Yeah, it was over a year ago. I think they were around $2 to $3, somewhere in that range. But a year ago it was at $4. So 536% growth, just to go from, not that this isn't the best Gengar card in the world, but it is a Gengar card, and I did think it was undervalued. Like I said, we talked about this on the channel before. This card and a few of the other trainer gallery cards being undervalued, but had a run up previously, went up to around $20, came back down to around 14, 13, and then now we're seeing it around $30. So yeah, it's kind of wild just to think that some of those cards can go, if you just hold on to them long enough, pick them up at some good entry points, that they can get to this point. And then PSA 10. So keep in mind, this was, back here it was a $4 card. Now it's around a $30 card. PSA 10s are going pretty big, $350, $340 on the last solds, $325 and $340 before that. And I could kind of see why. I didn't look up the pop report on this card. I kind of already know that maybe the pop report's a little low just based off of the copies that I've purchased. A lot of them have print lines or like light scratching. They just, the print quality wasn't there. When these cards aren't textured, they're just very prone to scratching in general as well. So probably a little bit more of a difficult card to grade. If we looked up the pop report, we'd probably see that. That doesn't surprise me because I think of all the copies I bought, I don't think even one of them I thought had a chance out of 10. So pretty low gem rate, I'm assuming. Let me know in the comments if you happen to have looked up the gem rate on the Gengar. And then another, last trainer gallery card that we're going to talk about is the Sleepy Pikachu, another one from Lost Origin that we've talked about on the channel before. It's going to be a few months ago, but seeing some big price movement here as well, up around 50% in the past 3 months and 34% in the past month. You zoom out a year ago, this was a $3-4 card. I did have a run up similarly to the other Gengar to around 20, which would have been late February, early March, came back down to around 12, 13, and now we're seeing it move back up. Looks like it might surpass this old previous high of 1975. It's still got to probably have a few more sales. We're right there at the cusp of potentially having this card sit and hold at that all-time high. But another great card, super adorable. Love the Pikachu and the trainer, the sleepiness. Absolutely adorable. That Pikachu, his face, he looks tired. Always like this card. I like Lost Origin a lot though in general anyways. I think Lost Origin still is a deep set, especially people might start looking at Lost Origin a little bit differently. I mean, not that they aren't already looking at it like positively for the most part, but if some of these lower valued like trainer gallery cards see a little bit of momentum, because Lost Origin actually has a lot. Not only does it have a Pikachu, it has the Gengar, it has a Charizard, and it has a Snorlax trainer gallery. So kind of deep set as far as that goes for trainer gallery cards. So, but anyways, that's the last trainer gallery card to touch on. Just seeing some more big movement here recently on that. And then the last card I wanted to talk about is from Destined Rivals. Ethan's Ho-Oh is starting to see a little bit of some movement here. This is a card that we pulled on the channel. Super excited. This was one of my chase cards from Destined Rivals. I'm still working on my master set. Haven't made as much progress on that as I would have liked recently. Unfortunately, things have been expensive. We'll talk about coming up soon. We'll do my what I'm buying for September video, so we'll talk about that. But I picked up some sealed stuff, and it kind of limited my my purchases for singles. So, but anyways, this was one that we had pulled, and it's up around 15% in the past month. It's not doing anything like too crazy, but going from 140 to 168. So over a $20 gain. I think this still is an underrated card. I feel like a lot of people maybe don't like Ho-Oh as much, which is totally fine. I understand why Lugia popular, but I grew up, I was a Pokemon Gold guy growing up, so Ho-Oh is my guy. So I absolutely love this card, super stunning. This card actually for me is at PSA right now. So the unfortunate thing for me, this is how I work, is if this card gets a 10, then I have to buy another copy for my binder for my master set, and it's going up right now. And if we zoom out right here, obviously pre-release prices were high, 189. It dipped as low as 138. So now we're seeing it pretty much at a high. If you want to exclude the pre-release prices, we're seeing it at an all-time high essentially, which doesn't look good for me. Because if I get a 10, this is how I work. If I get a 10, it's got to go up on the wall back behind me, right? And it's going to stay in my PC, and it's never coming out, and I'm not selling it. Right. And then I need a binder copy. So then I'm gonna have to buy a binder copy. And now this card's going up. We do have, the good thing is like the Mewtwo from Destined Rivals is going down. And that's the most expensive card that I still need, but I still need quite a few SIRs overall. We only pulled 2 SIRs when we opened all those packs of Destined Rivals back in late June. We got the Crobat, which I ended up not sending to PSA. I thought it had a low chance at a 10. I thought it was a solid 9 copy, so that stayed in the binder. So stay tuned for the PSA return. I'll make a video on that when they come in. I think I ended up, unfortunately, sending, that's not unfortunate, but I ended up sending a lot more Japanese cards than I would have liked. I thought I would have had more. I had my little like to be graded stack that I have over in the corner. And once I started going through them, I just had a lot in there, and like grading prices have gone up recently, and it's just like there was just less that I was willing to send than I thought originally. So yeah, I thought I had more. I thought I was gonna have like double the amount of cards, but once I really started looking at them in the dark under the light, I was just noticing some flaws here and there. So PSA return coming eventually. That's actually probably going to be a while, probably closer to the end of the year at this point. But yeah, they have my Ethan Toho. Want that card back. Definitely. Yeah, I think that card's definitely going to 10. So I'm pretty positive that we're going to have to put that up in the display back behind. But yeah, that's all I have for you guys in this one. Oh, real quick, super random. I know that a lot of people ask about these displays. There is a link in the description if you want to pick them up. I just got them from Amazon. But if you want to pick them up and support the channel, if you know, it's affiliate link, I get a very small percentage if you want to pick them up. But most of them, you can't really see. It's hard to see the grades. Most of them are 10s. We have almost all 10s behind me. There's just a few in there that are not, that we're going to end up replacing here shortly. So, but anyways, I just get some questions about that. So just thought I would address that. Except for the over here on this side, these first editions, there's just a few. I don't have that many. These first edition, 2 first edition right here, and then the Shining Magikarp and the other base set Gyarados. Those aren't 10s. Those are 9s and 1 8. Just because those are so expensive. But anyways, everything is expensive. This hobby is exploding in value. No matter where you look, close your eyes and point at something, it's probably going up. So that's going to end the rant. We're ending it there. Thank you so much for watching. You guys are awesome. I'll catch you guys in the next one. And remember, it was never a phase.